I'm Bia Jackson. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm from Richmond, Virginia, and live in Harrisonburg, Virginia. um, I think especially like my mom would be really open to it. I think she understands gender more than she understands sexuality, so it's very interesting in that way. Um, I she's definitely she's more clear about gender than she is sexuality. So I can see her being like, oh, okay, but at the same time, some resistance of like I not knowing that like I was trans or if I was like gender nonconforming. So
Why do you think, or what's the difference in her understanding for gender versus sexuality?
I just think we encountered before I like came out, we encountered sexuality, not sexuality, gender, um, like way earlier before, like in her transphobia, and just kind of like nip that in the bud, type of like introduce conversations, and just like she found like started to have coworkers that were trans. She started to have like folks come into her work that were trans, and understood that more as um, like this like not division but like understood it as like a clear distinction of what transness is, and not like saying like she's all knowing, but she understood that a lot more than like being queer.
Like,
It's kind of based on the binary. I'm working on that with her. She doesn't understand, well, she's getting there, but she doesn't understand exactly the they them pronouns or being gender non-conforming or non-binary. I think that's something that we're getting to, and that's kind of like all part of like kind of just like destroying like the binary in her mind, because I think she understands like, oh, trans man, trans woman, but the idea that there's like this place of gender fluidity, that's kind of new and different to her. My family can show up for me as a black queer person by one, respecting my boundaries. I guess that's what I mean by like mind your business. Like respect my boundaries, because we all have like personal, private, um, like details of our like romantic or even just like platonic relationships. And also, I guess, just try to understand. Like understanding doesn't mean you have to like involve yourself in my life. And also like advocate for me. Like I think that's one of the biggest things. I don't need someone to speak for me, but I definitely want someone to advocate for like my humanity, advocate for me as a person, regardless of like if I'm their kid or not, if I'm their cousin or not. So, hmm. Gender in my family is like not. I think having like strong black women is also is like for my family, gender is very interesting in that way of like we don't gender roles don't really matter per se. Like there are some instances where like, oh, lady like act like, a woman, and I think that comes from like some southern traditions too. But I think my mom has always like taught me like you should know how to mow your own grass, regardless of if your partner does. Like you should know how to change your own tire, that type of thing. And also, I think that just comes out of like just survival and responsibility, because like she was doing it by herself. And looking back, like all the women in my family literally have been doing it for themselves, regardless if they had a husband or not, and they were just strong like matriarchs. So I think that's something I'm like slowly still like grappling towards, and something that I know she is like slowly discovering and bringing up. And that's kind of how I like discuss like gender fluidity with her too, of like you possess these qualities, um, but also like you consider yourself to be a woman, like, but these qualities would per se be like gender like roles for someone else, like that type of thing. And I think that's what like really breaks through to her.